Howdy champs, my name is Mohit and people, today I'm going to talk about Twitter Bootstrap 3 Popovers. In fact, as always, I'm going to begin with a browser preview. Now they're just like tooltips in the way they actually behave, with a subtle difference. You see 4 buttons out here which have a rollover state as well. Okay, the background color darkens up just that tad when you roll over, and not only that, people, when you roll over or when you click, you can see there's a tooltip or there's a popover, which can be a pop under too. You can use placements, auto, which is top, left, right, or bottom. Right? The way I've actually written the code, it's designed to throw the popover on a hover as well as on a click. Right, just this way. Okay, I've used glyph icons out here. Okay, and see, I'm going to click now, so you can see that the popovers are shown up even on a click, not only on a hover. And you see there's a subtle divider. There's a popover title, and then there is a small description out here at the bottom. There's a subtle change of shadow, and there is a subtle divider too. Okay, so doing this was so very easy, people. It's so very convenient. It's painless. I'm going to show you how easy it is to do with Twitter Bootstrap 3. So let's begin. People, what I'm going to do is I'm going to preserve some code and I'm going to lose some code. I'm going to lose the code that I'm going to recreate. I'm going to preserve the code that that is not at all difficult to explain. That can be explained verbatim. So whatever is there in the head of the document, I'm going to preserve. Whatever is there in the body of the document, I'm going to lose. I'm going to destroy, only to recreate it, so that you understand things a lot better. Okay, so first things first, let me in fact, even before I destroy, I would want to show you something. Now, in the head of the document, you see after the title tag, I have 2 link tags and 3 script tags. Now, the 2 link tags at the top and the 2 script tags at the bottom are actually tying up to CDNs or content delivery networks or remote servers where the requisite files for the Bootstrap are kept. So we have a Bootstrap minified CSS file, a Bootstrap theme minified CSS file. We have the latest jQuery version kept on the Google server. Okay, 1.11.1, and then we also have the Bootstrap minified JS file over and above the CSS file. We see the script tag also tying up to a popover.js. This is something that I've written. This is something that you'll manually need to. It's not a CDN. It's a physical file that's actually kept on the hard disk that has been manually written. And you see it's a JavaScript document which says, it's very simple. I'm not going to redo it all over again. It says when the document is actually ready, when the DOM has initialized, and when the elements are accessible, every anchor tag inside the class PO through the popover inbuilt function, throw it at the bottom. This is the placement at the bottom. Trigger it on a hover, space separated by a click means on a hover and also on a click. The delay should be 100 and the height should be 100. Basically, should show up after 100 milliseconds and should hide itself after 100 milliseconds on a trigger which can either be a hover or a click. Now, the trigger and the delay attributes, or these attributes are optional, additional optional. These are parameters, additional optional parameters, and you can completely do away with them. You can also do away with placement, though it'll then go to auto, which is the same as top. Okay, you can change the bottom to a left or a right. Right, people, all the assets are going to be available as a free download from my website http://qualitylessons.net. So do not worry. Right, you can always grab the popover function code from there. So this is the popover.js file tied to the source code. Okay, so this is as far as the head of the document is concerned. So I've shown you that the trigger is additional optional parameter, delay is additional optional parameter. You can change these values 100, 100. You can change the placement to left and right and top, which is the same as auto. You can set the placement to auto. You can completely do away with all these additional optional parameters too, right? And just we'll just keep the vanilla popover function too. Okay, so this is as far as the head of the document is concerned. As far as the body of the document is concerned, again, I could have explained it verbatim, but I think it's best if I actually do it a little bit manually. Makes just makes things a little easier to understand. So you can see everything inside the opening and the closing body tags I've actually removed. Okay, just for convenience sake, just to make things a little snappy, I'm gonna throw in line by line of code, one line of code, explain it, and then I'll replicate that line. Okay, again, that will make things very snappy. As I said, the code is not at all very difficult, can be explained verbatim too. Okay, and some parts of the code I'm actually gonna write manually as well. Let me start. Okay, I'm gonna start with a div with a class of well. Control plus comma to expand the code. I'm using Zen coding, code assist plugin. Okay, now what does a div with a class of well do? Let's save the document up. Let's quickly take a browser preview. Now well just creates a section, a gray colored section, a gray colored thin bordered section with a sunken look. That is what the documentation says, but I'm still struggling to find the sunken look. I couldn't find the sunken look. Okay, now to the well, which is an inbuilt pre-built class, I'm going to add another class called well LG. All this does is, there's another option, well SM, adds extra bit of padding to the well or the section or the the new division. Okay, so if I refresh, you'll actually see that it just expands a little bit. That's because of the extra padding that has been added, nothing else. Cool. And inside the well is inside the well I'm gonna have a UL going, or an unordered list going. So I'm gonna say UL with a class of PO, Popover. Now this is just a personal preference. This Pover could have been Popover or whatever you would want to name it. So that is entirely up to you. I just called it PO. Okay, and then I'm gonna throw in a list inline inbuilt pre-built class. People, this is an inbuilt pre-built class. List inline. All that does is the list items are then not under each other, under and over each other. They're sideways, side by side, adjacent. Okay, and let me close the UL tag up here. Cool. So all that I've done is inside the opening and the closing div tags with the class of well and well LG. Let's put in a comment out here. It says end of div well. Okay, I'm sorry, this is not LUL, this should be UL. Okay, I was wondering why it's it's in some kind of an improper color. Okay, so UL with a class of PO. This is a class that I have defined, and list inline is a pre-built inbuilt class that comes with Twitter Bootstrap 3. Cool. So we just nested a UL item inside a div with the class of well. Let's see how things look like right now. Let me refresh. Well, absolutely no change, just a mild shift of the the spacing, just increase this way, elongate, and that's because UL itself has some default margins and paddings. Cool. Now next what I'm gonna do is, since I have a UL, I need to have a LI item too. Okay, so let me get in my first li item. I'm gonna copy paste this bit just to make, just to go a little quicker. Tab and paste. Okay, so what I've done is I've actually nested li within uls. You see, within the li I have an anchor tag. Now this anchor tag has been rendered like a button because of the inbuilt class button and button success. Now this inbuilt class button, what it actually does is it makes the anchor tag behave like a button. Basically gives it dimensions, width and height. Okay, the href or the href attribute has been set to a null. Basically, it will not take you anywhere. Okay. The data toggle attribute has been set to a popover. The title has been set to Dreamweaver CS6. Now this title, the title attribute, is going to show up in the popover as the title of the popover. Okay, so very important. So also is the data content or the description of the title has been set to course fee INR 4000 or $150. And what is actually written on the button is Dreamweaver, and the li closes up out here. So within the ULs we have a li. Within the li we have an anchor tag. Anchor tags always have ref attributes and target attributes. We don't require targets because the href attribute is not going anywhere. But the the anchor tag has been made to act out like a button. So we need the class button. Now what is this button success? Again, it's a pre-built inbuilt class with the Twitter Bootstrap 3. What it does? Button success actually gives it a green color. We can set it to button warning, button danger. Now all that happens with these classes, button warning, button danger, button primary, as we'll see, primary, is basically just some background color. So a background color has been inbuilt into these classes. So just some background color. This gives you the width, just the shape of a button with a rollover state. Okay. The title acts like the title of the popover, and the data content acts like the description of the popover. So if I were to save things up right now and bring up the browser, refresh at this point, you'll see just one single button, the first button appear. And if I were to hover and hover off, you can actually see that it shows up in 100 milliseconds, hides itself in 100 milliseconds. Dreamweaver CS6 is the title. Course fee INR 4000 or $150 is actually the description or the data content. Okay. Similarly, I'm going to bring in the next li item. Again, since I've actually set the pre-built inbuilt class to list inline, it's gonna be sideways, adjacent, will not be under, as is the default behavior with LIs. Okay. Now, what I've actually pushed in is very similar to the first li, so this li also has an anchor tag. The href is not going anywhere. The class is button danger. Button danger gives you the red color, not the green color this time. Okay, this data toggle will always be set to a popover. It's not doing anything actually. I've actually removed it, and it doesn't actually make any difference. I'm wondering why it's actually there, but the documentation says it has to be there, so there must be a reason for that. Okay, the title has been set to flash CS6. So the title of this is the title of the popover or the pop under. Call it whatever you want to call it. And this is the popover description. That is after the divider, subtle divider. Okay, and this is what is going to appear on the button itself, the button label. Okay, so if at this point, if I'm going to save everything up, and if I were to refresh, let's see what happens. Okay, so we have the second button with a different color, danger. Okay, see, I'm going to show you there are different classes. This danger, if I were to set it to warning, this is a different class, pre-built inbuilt class. It's going to change the color to a mustard kind of a shade, yellowish kind of a shade, dark mustard kind of a shade. See. Okay. So let me go back to danger. Okay, I'm going to get in the third li item. Again, this time I'm not going to explain it, people. I think I'm absolutely sure things are so easy to understand, so self-explanatory. All right. So again, the li with the anchor tags inside the href, the class button warning, giving it a the yellowish shade. Title title is title of the popover, data content, description of the popover. Yep. So we'll have the third button and the third popover ready as well. Let me bring up the browser. Let's refresh, and there you go. All right. And the trigger, as always, is also a click along with a hover. So I'm clicking right now. Okay, and this is a hover. Cool. And in the end, people, this is something interesting, and I think I'll need to explain this. I'll need to explain this in detail. Okay, so give me a sec. Okay, let me just segment it out or segregate it from the rest of the code so that we can actually see it quite clearly. I'm hitting enter a lot of times, many times, multiple times. I just want to segregate this bit a little away from all the other code. Just makes things easier to understand and see. So the fourth li item is a special kind of li item. Let me bring the browser up. Before I do the explanation, let me show you the demonstration. So you see it has two glyph icons. You have several glyph icons available that you can use with your buttons, and that's exactly what it is. So it shows up my actual phone number to call people, and my real email address, mohitsmail@yahoo.com. So let's see how this was actually done. Now many things are actually common, like the anchor tag does not go anywhere, so you have a hash out here. The class is button, gives it a width and height, pre-built and built class. Button primary gives it a a darkish bluish shade. Data toggle attribute, as always, has been set to popover. Title is the title of the popover. Data content, as always, is the description inside the popover, so phone number, email address, etc. But instead of a word or a few words in the opening closing anchor tags, I have a span tag with a class of glyph icon, another class that has been set to glyph icon dash phone dash alt. Sorry. So let's focus on this bit. Now what this actually does is, on this bit, the highlighted bit, yeah. So opening span tag, closing span tag, opening and closing span tags span with a class of glyph icon and glyph icon phone alt. Basically, in the span tag, we are summoning a glyph icon of the type glyph icon phone alt. Now this is throwing up that phone symbol. Okay. And before I actually close up the span tag, you see I have pushed in and NBSP twice. So between the opening and the closing span tags, I've actually pushed in and NBSP 2 times. In fact, if I were to actually take it away from here, let me just give it a try. I think it'll be more appropriate. Let me cut it from here, and after the first span tag and before the second span tag, if I were to push in the and NBSP out here, like so. And NBSP is one single white space, people, just to create some space between the icons, otherwise they would touch each other, rub shoulders. That is something I wouldn't want. Let's see if this gives me the same result. Yeah, kind of shrinks, and this looks even better. Okay, no issues, I'll keep it this way. Okay, so we have the first span tag out here. Span are inline level elements, people, so they ensure everything is actually in line. So if you have adjacent span tags, basically will keep things in line. That is exactly, we want the icons to be in line, in the same line, adjacent. With the class of glyph icons, I'm declaring I'm using a glyph icon of the type phone. Okay, another span tag I have here, but between the two span tags I have and NBSP semicolon twice, basically inserting 2 white spaces. Cool. And this is the other span tag responsible for the glyph icon of the type envelope. So class glyph icon declaring that I'm going to use a glyph icon of the type envelope. Okay, the anchor tag closes out here, and finally the li closes out here, ul ends out here, and the division well ends out here. So all's well, all's well. Okay, so let's save everything up. Let's bring the browser up to take up a final preview of the popovers. Call them pop unders. They can be pop lefters or righters too. Completely depends on the placement. Setting it auto is the same as setting it top, people. Okay, and you can the trigger is not only a hover, it can also be a click. Okay, now this trigger is an additional optional parameter. You can completely do away with it. If you do away with it, it's gonna act only on a click. That'll be the default behavior. Show, delay, show and hide have been set to 100 each. If you actually remove the additional optional parameter delay, is gonna throw and hide the popovers instantly. The placement has been set to a bottom. Removing it will ensure that it will be set to auto, which is the same as top. Okay, well, this is a small JavaScript function, jQuery function, that I've written in a separate file, and in the source code I've actually tied up through the opening closing script tags, the src being popover.js. So the HTML and the CSS files should be able to see each other, should be in the same folder. And these, as I've already said, the link tags and the script tags are basically tying up to the requisite Bootstrap minified CSS file, theme files, which is also a CSS file, the latest jQuery version, jQuery minified 1.11.1, and the latest bootstrap.min.js file. Okay, CDNs are content delivery networks or remote servers, where the requisite files are already kept. Okay, so people, it's that simple. I know the tutorial may have run over 20 minutes. That's simply because I like to explain at length, at ease. I do not like to rush. Okay, so people, I hope you found this information useful. I think popovers have a slight edge over the tooltips in the way they have a title going and a description, at the bottom with a divider. I like that bit. So people, you have a good day. Bye bye, peace, and yes, do sub, do share this video if you like it, over Facebook, over Twitter, over other social networking sites. You have a good day. Bye bye, peace.